Hare Krishna. Can everybody hear me? Hare Krishna. Yes, thank you, Bhakti and Carla. Yes, thank you, Raleigh. Okay, welcome everybody to our course entitled Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Yogi, Bhakti Yogi's Lifestyle. I hope you got the course manual that we sent out. I hope you have it with you right now because we will be basing our tonight this eve. Yes, wow, very good. Print out na ni Rolly. Thank you very much. Because we will be basing our discussion on the handouts we sent out to you all. Just 1 second here. Okay. So I'm very happy and glad to be with you all again, once again, this evening. We have kind of put on hold our, we could say, meeting with each other for a couple of weeks, I think. And we were able to come up with this course. And we hope that this will be very informative to everybody. And para kayo po ay get a more deeper understanding kung ano ba yung Krishna consciousness or Bhakti Yoga or devotional service na practice. So as the title itself says, very self-explanatory yun po. It means that malalaman natin kung ano yung mga galaw, mga kilos ng isang practitioner of Krishna consciousness. Although malamang you may have already some idea, but this is a little bit more deeper now. And more importantly, malalaman natin yung the philosophy behind kung ano ba yung atin, why do we do this? Why do we do that? Okay, so it's very important kasi mahirap naman na we are doing something but medyo kulang yung information na nakukuha natin. Why are we doing this? So ito yung course na to. So we will be not grouping in the dark at parang we could say parang following blindly lang. Okay. So at least why, for example, ito yung nakikita niyo sa akin forehead, meron tawag niya tilak. Bakit may ganyan tilak? Okay. Of course, siguro malamang naitanong niyo na yan sa mga previous speakers or persons, kundi different parts of the body. And meron din siyang reason why that is so. Okay, so without further delay, let us start with our Unit 1. Ang na-send out natin sa inyo is Unit 1, 2, and 3. But this will go on, if I'm not mistaken, hanggang Unit or chapters, we can call it, up to chapter or Unit 5 or 7. Okay, so ito lang muna pinasend out namin, yung first three units. Okay, and so we will be starting with Unit 1. And as you see in the table of contents, 5 topics that we will be discussing for this evening. However, I would like to break this down and see how we go sa depende sa oras natin. we may have to, but I would like to leave out yung huli, the last two topics for the next week. Kasi next week, yung Unit 2 ay napaka-easy lang. There's parang 3 pages lang yata. And it is only speaking or has the topics of 3 very short topics. So, para mabalance natin, ito yung unit number 1 that we will be discussing or starting this evening. Hanggang ano lang po tayo, the first 3 topics, practical devotion service, the basic principle devotional service, 2 main branches of devotional service. And tingnan natin kung may time pa rin, we can touch on the golden rule of Bhakti. But for sure, ito yung last topic, sadhana Bhakti. We will leave it or save it for the next session next week. Okay. So ano po, sana ay malinaw po yan on what we will be traversing this evening. So once again, sa yung medyo na late na dumating, we welcome you all to our course, Bhakti Yogi's Lifestyle. And we are very much excited and glad that you have all come and take your precious time to be with us this evening. So please turn your handouts dito sa page number 1. Okay. So as I was saying earlier, parang yung pinaka-introductory natin. So you may have learned or come across with the Krishna consciousness, practice, and either on site or online. But now is the time for us to go much deeper. But before we go deeper, then sabi nga, we have to know ano yung galawan ng isang devotee. Ano ba yung ginagawa niya in a daily or in a day-to-day basis. Okay, in a day-to-day basis. Kasi, sabi nga, as you may read there sa ating handouts, hindi naman maganda, as I also mentioned earlier, na hindi naman maganda na mayroon tayong ginagawa but we don't really know why are we doing it, why are we doing it, or how are we doing it. So yung mga questions niya, we have to answer those questions. Otherwise, we will just be blindly following a certain practice. Okay. So now, what is service really? So you can refer to your handouts. Again, I'm reading on page number 1. What in the middle of the page, what is service really? So now, meron tayong konting exercise, and I think throughout the course, we will be pakihanda po yung mga ball pen at mga lapis. At you can write mismo yan sa handout. If you have printed it out, you can write mismo dyan sa mga manuals or in a piece of paper kung hindi nyo pa na-print out. Okay, so what is service really? Because we keep on, bringing up the term devotional service. So I want you to think of some examples of service from everyday life. And then think about this. Which one, may tatlong nabigay ko dyan scenarios. There are 3 scenarios that I written down. Which one would you consider more of a service? Number 1, someone gives you a piece of furniture when you have a lot of empty space at home. Okay, is that service? Or is it the second scenario? Your job is to sell furniture and someone gives you one as a present. Ibig sabihin meron ka ikaw ay, yung trabaho mo ay magbenta ng furnitures. And then may nagregalo sa iyo ng isang furniture. So is that a service? And then the last scenario, the third and last, you have a lot of furniture already. And someone gives you the particular one you want for your collection. So yung third and last scenario, kayo ay meron ka na mga furniture, a lot, marami na sa bahay ninyo. Tapos pero binigyan ka ng a particular furniture na gustong-gusto mo talaga para for your own personal collection. So I'll give you a few, maybe a few seconds or maybe 1 or 2 minutes for you to reflect on this. There is um, really or no right and wrong answers here. We just want to brainstorm on discussing what is service. So you can either write it down, yung sagot ninyo, or you can speak out and give us your answer. So you can start now. I give you at least maybe just 1 minute. Radha Charan Prabhu, andyan ka?
Yes
Ayun din.
po, Prabhu.
Hindi ko makita yung sa view, kahit gallery view, hindi ko makita. I'm just seeing myself. Paano kaya?
Baka naka-maximize ka, Prabhu.
So, paano gawin? I-minimize ko.
Or yes, pwede mo, Prabhu. Or yung normal view lang sa upper left or upper right ba yan?
Sandali ha.
Or try mo, Prabhu, ipindutin yung escape.
Exit full screen. And then view. Speaker view. Dalawa lang choice ko rito. Speaker view, just pares lang, gallery view, pares lang, hindi ko rin sila makita. Double click on any
Ah,
space.
ang gusto niyo po makita, Prabhu, yung participants?
Yes,
Pwede niyo pong i-click yung sa lower participants, yung sa lower bar.
okay. Tapos,
Sige, click niyo lang po.
double click, ano, sa,
Apo. Nakita niyo po yung list of names.
yes, nakikita ko. Pero yung mga box ng ano nila, hindi ko makita eh.
Ah.
Pero di bali naman, it's just minor. So
Okay.
that's
Kasi hindi po sila naka-open ng camera. I'll try to open my camera para
double click on any
lumabas.
space. Ayun, okay na. Nakikita ko na sila.
Yan, nag-open na sila ng
Hello.
camera. So, we
Says your
invite
collection.
everyone. You
Ibig
can
sabihin.
open your cameras also.
So kung naka-off yung camera, hindi ko sila makita.
Yes
Ganun ba
po.
yun? Pero
Opo.
dati kahit naka-off yung camera, makikita ko naman yung, di ba, parang picture lang.
Ah, let's see. Let's see. We'll try something new.
Kasi parang ang dating kasi parang kinakausap ko lang sarili ko eh. Parang weird ang dating, di ba? Yung Regis na. Kasi parang, di ba, alang tao yung kumakausap sarili para may something, may tililing na eh. Para yun ang feeling ko, ako kausap ko yung sarili. Pero ako kausap. Ito nakikita ko na sila.
Yeah, naka-open na sila ng camera. Much better.
Ayan. Oh, okay. Okay, I think thank you very much sa Thank you bukas ninyo ng mga video ninyo Pero if you don't want to open yung video, it's I saw the video. It's fine, it's okay naman. Okay, so si Nikita, Bhakti Nikita, nakapagbigay na siya ng kanyang sagot. It says here collection. Ibig sabihin, marami na akong furniture. Pero bilang isang Krishna conscious, dapat hindi ako makikip ng mga material na bagay. Ibigay ko na lang sa iba. Okay. Okay. Others, have you already, paano kaya to yung exit full screen? Ayun. Ayun. Okay, ayan. Others, have you already You can share. Either you type it or you just, say it. Unmute yourself. I think everyone understood, hindi ko na ulitin kasi for time constraint, baka maubos yung oras natin. I think everyone understood the task na nagagawin natin. So alin sa tatlong senaryo, sa tingin ninyo ay service? Again, hindi ko sinasabi na there is any right or wrong answer. We're just brainstorming. Just para medyo maging ma-broaden yung natin, perspective natin when we speak about service. Ayan, nag-share. Yun. So far, isa pa lang nakapag-share ng kanyang sagot. Ano kaya sa tatlo? What do you think sa tatlong scenarios? Which one sa tingin nyo is a service to the person? Medyo konti. I have to really kind of think. Yung isa, wala siyang bakante yung kanyang kwarto, binigyan siya. Yung isa, nagbebenta. Okay, may si Bhakti in Milka. Tignan, sandali ha. For me, the third, yung pangatlo daw, the first example feels like giving alms, okay? I feel like it is, and if it was the furniture collector in the third example, I would feel happy that my friend thought hard about it. Yes, that's a good point. That's a good point, Bhakti Milka. What to give to me. Pinag-isipan niya, Pinag-isipan niya talaga. Okay? Good point. Sino pa? Who would like to...
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Sige, Hare Krishna.
Bihan ko na lang kaysa i-type ko.
Yeah,
Sa akin kasi on the perspective of the giver ng furniture. So, on the first one kasi is, the one who gave the furniture is parang thinking that you need it kasi nga wala kang anything.
Wala.
So,
okay.
And then the second one naman is it's your job or it's your responsibility as your daily service to sell. Pero kasi the other one that will give the furniture, it's more of giving it as a reward. And then yung third, actually lahat yan for me, it's all may service on a different perspective.
Ayun na nga. Tama. Okay, go ahead.
And the third one is, you have a lot of already And that one na binigay niya, it's more of having your desire na hindi mo naman talaga kailangan.
Having your desire fulfilled, ano?
Yes.
Tama? Ayun, thank you, Bhakti.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ito si Bhakti Chantal. Sandali, let me see for a second kung meron. Si Bhakta Roli pala, First, because it feels the emptiness and gives happiness. Yun ang sabi niya, Yung first scenario yung sa kanya. Kay Bhakti Chantal, Hare Krishna Prabhu, for me po, lahat ng scenario sa form service. Totoo naman. Because regardless of the status of person being gifted, there is still something being given. The point of service is not who is being served, but what is being given. Well said. Maganda rin yun. Magandang point ni Bhakti Chantal. And actually, hindi lang si Bhakti Chantal, but lahat kayo nagbigay, nag-share, have a valid point to say. So, sino ba kanina nagsasabi? Si Christine, She kind of opened up or touched on the different levels, kumbaga, of service. Meron pa just wait a second, basahin natin to si Bhakta JM. Third scenario po sa kanya, it's a bad omen not to accept a gift. By just accepting the gift po, we could give a little happiness to the giver, appreciation, and also self-satisfaction because the gift was the thing we really wanted. Okay. Ayun na po. Let's kind of wrap this up. and move to the next task. Pero bago tayo mag-move to the next, discussion. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for sharing. And now we unpacked it, and we have now come to the understanding the service has different levels. Tama po? Kasi sabi ni Bhakti Chantal that all of these are service, but different levels, different levels of service. So what are these levels? Of course, may gradation. Of course, yung pinakamababa at saka pinaka-topmost service or pinaka-pleasing, ang pinaka-pleasing na service. Yung isa, service pa rin siya. I mean, the lower rung of, let's say, parang hindi masyado talaga siya yung, we could say, but it still belongs in the category of service. Ay hindi siya masyado talaga pang, very much, we could say, pleasing to the receiver. So now we put it into context of our, discussion as devotees practicing devotees. We are the servants, and we are serving the Master Krishna. Okay, so in our understanding of the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, alamin natin kung ano ba ang pinakamaganda, the topmost service that we can render to the Supreme Lord, to the Supreme Person of God, Krishna, that will please Him so much. Ayun. Of course, hindi muna natin discuss yan kasi baka tayo ay haba pa yung discussion natin on this. But I just wanted to point out the definition, yung definition ng ating anong ibig sabihin ng service, so that we are all in the same page. So we understand. So to summarize again, service has different levels. And mind you, we should not discriminate. We should not discriminate na, ay, ito lang magagawa niya na service. O ito ay ang galing niya. But they all fall in the category of service. Baka sa kanya, for this person who's ganun nang magagawa niya, but he's already doing his best. So relatively sa isa na medyo, let's say, in the lower rank of service, and nasa higher rank, and you're looking down at him or her, tapos parang you will try to then discriminate, yun na ba yung makakaya niya? Ako, kaya kong itong ganito, ganyan. So we should not fall into the trap. We should not fall into the trap of parang categorizing this person, that person, and myself. And it becomes like a competition. Of course, in the spiritual world, meron spiritual competition. Anyway, medyo malalim na yan. But anyway, the point we just wanted to say here, that there are different levels of service, and we should appreciate each and every one who is rendering service, either small or big. Okay. Ayun, may si Carla, Bhakta Carla, giving service are much appreciated pagaling sa heart. Ganon, nawala bigla. Ganon man po kaliit. Yes, comes ba. Okay, so, sana tayo. Sandali, ha? Okay. So, going back to our manual, pagkitingin po kayo sa inyong, kung na-print out yun na. How do you know what is really going to be a service to someone? Ayan, we're now going deeper. The essential factor when service, within the service that pleases Krishna, blank. The essential factor when within service that pleases Krishna is love. Tama-tama yung sabi ni, yung huling tingnan natin ulit. Hindi ko kaya makalala masyado pa eh. Sabi ni Carl Bhaktin, Carla ba Tama ba? Hindi ko nakita ang pangalan. Bhaktin Carla. Paggaling sa puso, So, it means that andito sa atin sinasabi is with love. So now, what is the relationship? What is the relationship between service and love? Okay? So may pagmamahal, yung pag-service mo, 'di ba? Yung mga malamang yung mga parents diyan, we are serving the children, we are serving our spouse. And why do we serve? Because there is love. There is love. So service is a sign of love, but love is, the service actually. Okay? So next page na po tayo. Turn to the next page ng inyong page number 2 na tayo. Now, we already discussed the definition of service. Ito naman yung kasi Bhakti is devotional service. There are two words, devotional service. So, discuss na natin ano naman yung devotion. Okay. So, what is devotion? Think of someone you know who is devoted and dedicated to something. Mag-isip muna kayo. It may be a close relative. It may be a person in public service, or whatever. Basta mag-isip lang kayo na ang isang tao who is devoted and dedicated to something. Maari trabaho niya, o kanyang pamilya, or yung kanyang, legacy, whatever is that. And then you will ask a question. Pag naisip nyo na yan, kung sino man yan, kung sinong tao man yan, how do you know he is devoted? For example, nakita niyo question dyan, no? How do you know he is devoted to his craft, for example, to his job, for example? Paano malaman devoted siya doon? And what signs of devotion does he have? Okay, hindi naman pwede, ay ano yan, devoted talaga sa trabaho. Dapat may makikita tayo na there are symptoms or signs that he is showing devotion. And what are the qualities of devotion? Ayan. So, please write it down. Sabi ko nga kanina, please prepare a pen, a ball pen, or pencil. So, write it down muna kung sinong tao na yan, specific person. It's up to you if you want to mention the name or not, it's okay. And then, just by focusing on that person, then you answer the three questions. How do you know he's devoted? What signs of devotion does he have? And what are the qualities of devotion? So I'll give you, again, 1 minute, 1 or 2 minutes to write it down, to think and then write it down. And once you've written it down, not everyone, of course, kasi maubos tayo oras na. Maybe 1 or 2 of you can share what you have, put down or written. Kung sino lang mauna sa inyo, then either you type it on the chat box, or you can say it, unmute your mic, and then share it to everyone. Excuse me.
Hi po.
Okay. Bhakti Carla, ano?
Apo.
Okay,
Ako,
please say it.
parang moms in general. Kasi they
Okay.
do everything non-stop 24/7 without asking something in return. Tapos, una, hindi naman sila na binabayaran for it. Walang walang day off. Wala pong day off.
Tama.
Then kahit
Tama.
napapagod na, they don't mind it. Basta
Mhm.
okay family. Tapos, they're happy doing it. Masaya sila. Sobrang
Mhm.
selfless. Yung parang purest kind of love for me po yung pag
Mhm.
yung mga nanay. Ganun
Mhm.
po. Kasi they always, iniisip nila lagi yung para sa pamilya, para sa anak, ganun.
Mhm.
Without expecting something in return.
Kumbaga, pwede natin mag-venture or we can dare to say that they are selfless.
Yes.
Selfless sila na halos hindi na nila inintindi sarili nila.
Totoo po. Even kahit
Diba?
worker sila before, kung pangit na sila ngayon, kasi hindi na nag-aayos, they don't mind. Basta alam nila na okay yung pamilya. May ganun pagka nanay. Ewan ko po, ganun.
Hindi, tama yan, tama yan. You're right on the spot. You're right on the spot. Kasi actually that is the definition of devotion service talaga to Krishna. Na yung devotee, hindi niya naintindi sarili niya. Na he just, nakandarapan na siya to the point na yung health, medyo yung kalusugan minsan ay na-curtail na, na-compromise na. Kulang sa tulog, di ba sabi mo nga mga nanay, kulang sa tulog, kulang na sa kain, sa isip na.
No payment po pala.
Di ba? Mukhang naano tayo. Di ba? But yeah, that's true. That's very much true. That is very 100% true. So I think that is the summum bonum, that is the pinnacle of devotion. At which is in the scriptures, meron nga, the nearest example that we can see of love in this material world is the love of the mother. Nasa scriptures din yan. We are not just saying like parang, just our own opinion, but it's also there in the scriptures na, at least yung pinakamalapit na sinasabing maihambing natin na yung love of God is the love of the mother to the children. Kasi unconditional ang tawag dun eh. Unconditional love. So, when we love God or Krishna, it should be like that, na unconditional din. Wala yung parang may string attached na ano ba yung what's in it for me.
Yes.
Meron ba gano'n yung nanay? Meron ba yung nanay? Ay, pagsilbihan ko yung anak para pag lumaki, sila naman ang magsilbi sa akin. May gano'n minsan, di ba? May isusuklian, pag mag-graduate na to, magandang trabaho, ako naman alagaan nila, may ganun minsan, but hindi natin ma-avoid that. But most of the time, sige lang, basta masikaso ko lang sila, So thank you very much for sharing that, Bhakti and Carla. Meron pang gustong one more person, or I think this is more than enough yung nasabi ni Carla. Kasi si Tia, okay, nagtaas ng kamay. Sige, you would like to share? Si Tia.
Hello po, good evening po para po sa akin po, nanay po is po, forever po sila nandiyan sa tabi mo, tapos forever din sila nasusupport tayo, whatever na decision mo sa life mo is nandoon sila, and then kahit anong gagawin mo, still parents mo pa rin sila. Whatever your decision in life, nandiyan para sa'yo, yun lang.
Thank you, Pia. Thank you. I think wala na na ang galing nyo talaga na go straight to the point. Kasi meron tayong isa na ibang mag-isip na yung mga public figures that they are very devoted to their craft, they sacrifice themselves, etc., etc. But I think itong pinaka-best at wala na makatalo dito sa mga mothers, sila na talaga. Okay, so now we connect this, what we are discussing now, we connect this to spirituality, So because now that we kind of narrowed it down, this devotion which is yung sa mga nanay, mga mothers, how would you define devotion service to the Supreme Lord? I give you a hint, I give you a clue. It's already what we already discussed. Na-discuss na natin. So meron dyan box, kung na-print out nyo yung handout, manual, student manual. Meron box at pakisulat na lang dyan, what you think. You may have read the scriptures and you may quote it, no problem. but you can always say, on your words, on your own words. So it may not be mahaba, medyo one sentence lang siguro, or word, or a phrase. And please write it down there. And then again, we can share with the group. I give you again 1 minute for this. Tawag nito si Radha Charan Prabhu, are you still there with us?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
So, validate ko lang, Prabhu, hanggang 8:30 tayo, ano?
Yes, Prabhu. We can extend naman. 8:15, 8:30. Ganun usually
Okay.
yung evening na natin.
Kasi titingnan ko yung oras natin, 7:45 na.
Mabilis talaga.
Page 2 pa lang tayo. Page 2 pa lang tayo. Kasi yung discussion talagang kailangan, sige. Again, kung sino gusto mag-share yung sinulat niya, please do so. Write it, type it in the chat box, or you can just, say it out loud. Unmute yourself. Again, how would you define devotional service to the Supreme Lord? Jonah, sige, please. Nagtaas siya ng kamay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
For me, Prabhu, devotional service to the Supreme Lord is always doing everything considering the happiness of the Lord.
Okay, good. Very good. Thank you for that, Jonah. Sino pa? Who would like to also share? Saan tawag nito? Pleasing, how to please the Lord, okay. Which is actually, nabanggit na natin kanina yun. So if you remember, na-discuss natin 3 scenarios of a service. How to please, okay. Okay, so see, we have to move forward. I'm so sorry kung hindi ko na ma-accommodate yung iba. But if you want, you can still write it down sa chat box, no problem. We can still read it. Yes, yung number 1 is, another word for pleasing the Lord is favorable. We serve Krishna in a favorable way. Ibig sabihin yung kung anong gusto niya. What is he wants us to do for him. Okay, and very important point niyan kasi we may think in our estimation, ay baka itong gusto niya. So we may tend to speculate. We may tend to kind of come up with some our own idea, but it may not be. Hindi siya yun ang gusto ng Supreme Lord. So therefore, we should hear from the scriptures what Krishna is saying to us. For example, I give you a verse on the Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna states that if one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a little water, then when it's offered with devotion, then I will accept. Okay. So what is Krishna asking? The best way to please a person is tanungin mo siya kung ano gusto niya. So here in this verse, Krishna is saying na you offer him a leaf, a flower, a little amount of water. And importantly, you offered it with devotion, yung pagmamahal. Then he will accept. Okay? So that is his instruction. Ibig sabihin, ay ito yung gusto ko. So that's for sure, hindi ka makakamali, in pleasing that person. Okay. Now, towards the end of the page, meron ditong Sanskrit verse. It is not mistaken coming from Nectar of Devotion. Sarva padhi vinir muktam tat paratwena nirmalam hreshikesha sevanam bhaktir uchate. So dito may blank, there's a blank. The definition, the translation of this verse is here, written sa baba lang, English translation, pero may blank. Ano eh? So bhakti or devotional service means blank. By this process, one is freed from all material designation and his senses. Ano ba yan? Sandali ah. Kasi natakpan. Na are purified. Yun. And senses are purified. So meron hint ano, sa second sentence, you will know it will guide us to fill in the blank. That is the clue. By this process, one is freed from all material conditionation and his senses are purified. Sino gusto mag-guess? Meron namang devotees dyan na kasama natin. Sino who opened this? So sino gusto? Who would like to chanting the holy name? Means chanting the holy name. Okay. Sino pa? Bear in mind na binigyan ko na kayong clue. The clue is in the second sentence. By this process, one is freed from all material designation and his senses are purified. Si Pia nagtas ng kamay. Yes.
I guess po, Hare Krishna, I guess po Bhakti or devotional services means intelligence. And
Intelligence.
by this
Okay.
process, one is feed intelligence tapos knowledge po.
Intelligence and knowledge. Okay, thank you, Pia. May nag-type it, surrender. Bhakting Christine, surrender ang sabi niya. Wala pa nakakuha. Wala pa, although there is, it's related naman but wala pa nakakuha yung correct, remembering one's constitutional position, si Jonah nagsabi. Okay, that can also be there, but it is not yet the correct answer. Detachment, si Bhakti Christine, detachment. Medyo malapit-lapit na, pero hindi pa siya yung pinaka-correct answer. So anyway, I'll give the answer. It means renunciation. Si John. Pwede rin, renunciation or detachment. It means that it pertains to the senses or freedom, sabi ni John. Kasi meron kayo nakita dyan, yung third line, Hireshikeina, Hireshikesha. It means the master of the senses. Krishna, the master of the senses. So the Bhakti or devotional service means engaging our senses, yung ating mga sense, mata, smell, taste, and hear, and touch, to the master of the senses, Krishna. Okay, kung i-attach, gagamitin natin senses sa kanya, para sa kanya. In other words, again, pleasing. Balik tayo dun sa devotional service. Pleasing his senses, hindi yung ating senses. Then it frees us from material destination and at the same time purifies our senses also. Ayun. Ayan. So anyway, this is a learning process. I don't expect naman na everyone can give the correct answer. But ulitin ko lang para tawag nito. Sandali bigla. Ulitin ko siya, Bhakti or devotional service means engaging our senses to the master of the senses, Krishna. In other words, engage means engaging our senses to Krishna. Ayan. Service, ayan, tama. Engaging all senses to the service of the Lord, sabi na type ni Bhakti Risa. Okay, very good. So now let us proceed to the next page, or with our time. Okay. Ngayon, this is actually the second topic na, no? For this unit 1, second topic na tayo. The basic principle of devotional service. So, mayroon tayong quote dito from Srila Prabhupada from the Bhagavad Gita. The basic principle of devotional service is detachment from material activities and attachment to the transcendental service of the Lord. Si Jonah yata nagbigay ng sagot dito, detachment. Naunahan mo na tayo. Nasabi mo na kaagad, detachment, ayan na. So that is the basic principle. Service, detachment. Bibitaw tayo sa mga material at kakapit tayo sa service na Krishna. Okay? So yun ang basic principle. And then another quote from Srimad Bhagavatam. Devotional service means mukti, freedom from material entanglement. And another from the science of self-realization, the underlying principle of devotional service is unalloyed love for Krishna. Baka narinig nyo palagi o nabasa nyo itong unalloyed. Ano kaya ang ibig sabihin ng unalloyed? Unalloyed means not mixed. Walang halo. Wala siyang halo. It's pure. Puro siya. Just like metal, alloy, you mix some other metals with other metals. So you come up with a, mixture of metals. Pero ito, unalloyed, hindi siya nahalo. It's pure. Okay? Ito yung devotional service. So dito sa bar, sa gilid, I will read, by absorbing our senses in activities centered around Krishna, we cultivate attachment to Krishna, which will gradually develop into love, and our attachment to material activities will be forgotten. So take note po yung word of gradual. Hindi siya biglaan. Sometimes pero minsan naiinip tayo at nagmamadali. The process sometimes, or not sometimes, but most of the time, or all the time, of spirituality takes some time. You have to invest some time into it. Hindi yung overnight lang na by a click of a finger, you are already spiritualized. You are, have everything in your grasp, in your knowledge and understanding. It takes some time. So cultivation, senses. So unti-unti po yung, it's a gradual process, So, but we have to be determined to just to continue doing it. Now, ito na po yung, meron box diyan sa baba, and this will be more of a practical, task. How can the senses be engaged in serving the master of the senses? So please write down again, take your pen or pencil. Yung question po natin is, how can the senses be engaged in serving the master of the senses? You just have to write just one. Kahit isa lang. I know marami po yan, but at least just one. Just give one example. How can we engage our senses? Yung mata, yung ilong, yung mouth, yung ears, and the touching. How can we engage? O paano natin i-connect itong senses natin sa master of the senses or kay Krishna, in other words. Again, 1 minute. I'll give you 1 minute to to write it down. What's that? Sino ba yun? Okay? Meron kung sino ba ang meron ng sagot? Please, you can again say it out loud to all of us or just write it down. Hear the words. Sandali ha. Bubuksan natin yung chat. Ayun, marami ka pala. Hindi ko sorry. Brother Charan, engaging our sense. Sorry, mali lang. Saan na ba yun? Focus on putting sense. Focus in Krishna. Kay Pia. Pia, ito yung sagot mo sa ating tanong ngayon. Focus in Krishna o kanina pa to?
Yes po, Parbo.
Okay. So focus on Krishna. Bhakta, what's this? John. Putting your senses into good use to Supreme Lord with full heart and devotion. Okay. Hear the words of the Lord. The taste of for prasadam, ito kay Bhakti Riza. For prasadam to chant the holy name. And then si Bhakta Oliver, avoiding material sense gratification. Okay, thank you for your sharing. As I mentioned kanina lang, ano yung practical, ibig sabihin yung magagawa na natin. Okay? Kasi ito yung, I'm not saying na mali naman yung ibang sagot, but we want to see yung application engaging the senses. So, kagaya na sabi ni Bhakti Riza, hear the words of the Lord. So, what are we using? Pag sinabi hear, yung tenga, di ba? So, that is one of the senses. So, we are hearing, nakikinig tayo, sinasabi ni Bhakti Riza, excuse me, the words of the Lord. So, yung words ay maaari yung scriptures, and the name of Krishna, and taste prasadam. So pag sinabi taste, ginagamit natin yung tongue. Okay? And then when we say chant, you're using the tongue again and hearing also the ear. Okay? Mouth, as we say, Bhakti and Christine, mouth as we speak, talk to spread Krishna. Yan. So we are using, in a practical sense, yung atin sense of speaking to broadcast or disseminate Krishna consciousness. To see, and si Bhakti Riza, to see darshan dit. So using our eyes, yung mata natin to see Krishna. Aditi. Si Bhakti Milka, I print stickers of images of Krishna and put them in the things as always we see and use. Sabi niyo. So we can see. So again, engaging the eyes in seeing Krishna. And then remembering Krishna also. So that is, of course, in the, more subtle, in a more subtle way, remembering Krishna. So thank you for sharing, everybody, on that point. And we go back, So it means to say, ito yung process natin. It is not just like a parang some sort of ethereal or formless or parang hindi mo mahawakan na process. It is very, very much within our grasp, literally. Ibig sabihin, we derive joy and happiness kasi yung senses natin ay ginagamit natin. Unlike other process, which I don't want to, we don't like to discriminate. Unlike other process, they negate the senses. they negate the senses, or they would like to deny the function of the senses. For example, they would like to go far and far away places into the Himalayas to meditate para, yung senses hindi ma-disturb. Okay? So, parang sinosuppress nila artificially yung senses nila. Which to some extent, okay din yun. Pero in a long term na process, it may not, pan out, or it may not, work out in the long run. Kasi we have to recognize na may senses tayo eh. Hindi mo pa pwede na pabulag-bulag ka lang palagi. Okay, it will not work out in the long run. We have to utilize it for Krishna. That is the proper utilization of our senses. Hindi yung magpabulag-bulag ka. Okay? So that is an artificial way of trying to, detach ourselves from the material world. So in other words, gamitin natin yung material things for Krishna. That is the principle behind. Okay, so we go now to the next and the third, and I think this will be the last for this evening, the third topic. As we started kanina, nabanggit ko, we have 5 topics for this evening, but I said, let's see how it goes, depending on our time, consumption. So ito yung dalawa, ititira natin. Let's save it for the next session next week. Kasi yung Unit 2 or Chapter 2, maiksi lang naman siya. Okay, so this will be the last. So the next, please turn your manuals to page number 4. And 2 main branches of devotional service. Napaka-importante ito. It's kind of a technical terms, Ito yung sabing Pancha Ratrika Vidhi. And then the other is Bhagavata Vidhi or Marg. So ulitin ko po yun, Pancha Ratrika Vidhi, and then yung isa, Bhagavata Vidhi or Marg. So ano yun? So definition is there. Pancharatrika Vidhi means devotional service focused on or centered around deity worship. Kagaya sa akin, meron kayong nakita sa likod ko. Ayan, sa background, meron kami deities dito of Lord Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra. Kung makita nyo dyan, masisilip nyo. At saka meron din Shishi Gauranitai. So I have 2 sets of deities here, Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra. Baka kayo, kung nag-attend kayo kay Navadip Chandra Prabhu, yung kanyang deity worship na course, so you may be familiar with the deities. Okay. Tapos meron kayo nakita sa likod ko rin na medyo malaki-laki siya. This is the Murti or the deity form of Srila Prabhupada. And then may isa pa dito si Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati. Okay. So ito yung tawag sa kanila ay the deity form of Krishna or God, and then yung mga pure devotees niya. So that is what you call Pancharatrika Vidhi or deity worship. So that is one main branch of devotional service. And pangalawa is the Bhagavata Vidhi. Ano naman po yan? Centered around hearing and chanting the holy name and preaching. Okay, so alam naman natin that we are chanting Hare Krishna. So that is the one branch of devotional service also. And kung tatanungin natin kung alin dito ang mas importante, at sabihin ay yung Bhagavata Vidhi ang mas importante sa dalawa. And we will explain that further as we just in a few minutes. Una-una sa lahat, anyway, let's read first from what it's written there sa baba. Prabhupada said, both are important. Please take note. Both are important for cultivating Vaishnavism, but comparatively speaking, Bhagavata Marg is more important than Pancharatrika Vidhi. And then another quote, by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can reach the platform of love of Godhead. And then the third, to chant the holy name of the Lord, one need not depend upon other paraphernalias, for one can immediately get all the desired results of connecting or linking with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All this to say, ay dahil po yung chanting of Hare Krishna, ay ito po yung process prescribed. Ito po ang process prescribed sa ating panahon ngayon. Kung ibig sabihin, ito yung pinakabagay na proseso. The deity worship, which is kanina ang tawag yun ay Pancharatrika Vidi, was the process the process in the previous yuga, bago magkali yuga. Pero ngayon ang prescribed process for self-realization in Kali Yuga is chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, which was propagated by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 500 years ago in West Bengal, India. Kaya nga ito yung mas importante. Ngayon, matidiscuss pa natin yan. Bukod sa mapansin ninyo, bukod dito sa sinasabing chanting of the holy name, meron din preaching, which is also a very important aspect in it's what you call the missionary movement organization of ISKCON. Preaching means we try to disseminate and try to share the knowledge to others also. So meron dito sa box, makita ninyo yung bullet points. Chanting the holy name is sufficient for attaining perfection, pure love for God, and returning back to Godhead. The main process for the age, as nabanggit ko na nga po, preaching makes one most dear to Krishna. Preaching connects to others to Krishna. Connects others to Krishna. Without hearing, one will lose interest. So meron dito, sandali lang yung may picture dito kung nakita niyo may picture yan si Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And mayroon tayong quote dyan. Basically, it means that to kind of summarize what is being said here, meron mga ibang tao, baka napansin ninyo, or maybe you may come across them maybe in the future, that they act properly but they do not preach. Hindi sila nag-share, hindi sila nagbibigay ng Krishna consciousness sa ibang tao. At meron na pa ibang tao that they go out and preach, they share the message of Krishna consciousness, but they do not act properly. Yung behavior nila parang hindi maganda. Pero Lord Chaitanya is saying here, but there is, speaking to Haridas Thakur, sabi niya, pero ikaw, you do both. You are exemplary in your activities, in your behavior, and at the same time, you're also preaching. So yun ang quote dito sa gilid, nakikita niyo dyan sa picture of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now we go to the next page, number 5. And I think this is the last page for this evening. Page number 5. But Pancharatrika Vidi is also essential. Srila Jiva Goswami says, I'm reading a quote from Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Jiva Goswami says that although Sankirtan is sufficient for the perfection of life, the Archana or worship deity in the temple must continue in order that the devotees may stay clean and pure. Okay? So makita ninyo parang, ayan, like a train on parallel lines. You may see a illustration dyan sa baba. Meron train, kulay pula, and then the analogy is given there na the train, hindi siya uusad kung walang reles, kung walang dalawang reles. So, in order to move, there should be two. steel bars or rails. So similarly, it goes hand in hand yung sinasabi natin yung Pancharatrika Vidhi and Bhagavata Marg or Vidhi. So they go hand in hand. But although we say ang mas importante ay yung chanting Hare Krishna mantra and yung preaching or disseminating and propagating or sharing to the general public yung atin philosophy of Krishna consciousness. So ayan po yung I don't want read this lahat na kayo na if you have in your spare time you can read that. Yung Pancharatrika Vidhi or your deity worship, this kumbaga it's like the analogy given is like yung vitamins. We take vitamins para maging mas malakas tayo. So the chanting is there, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, but to strengthen para lalong lumakas yung chanting natin, meron deity worship. Because this makes us pure, this makes us clean, this makes us regulated, this purify our consciousness para maging mas matibay yung chanting natin. Okay? So hindi siya kumukontra sa isa't isa, but rather they complement each other. They complement each other. And then to highlight and to really focus more on the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. Why? Why, you may ask why? Because sa panahon na ito, we need our senses to be purified and to be engaged. Kasi bihira isang tao na uupo lang sa isang sulok at mag-chant. It's very rare to find a person in this age na upo lang siya tapos he will chant the whole day. Although meron saintly person in India na kayang gawin nun. Pero for us, ordinary persons, napakahirap. And I think you may have experienced that in your practices if you may already be starting chanting Hare Krishna. Pag umupo ka sa isang tabi, maya-maya yung mind ay kung saan-saan napupunta. Our senses are pulling us here and there. So napakahirap na i-control. So by having deity worship, let's say, ewan ko sa inyo, baka sa iba sa inyo, nakapagsimulan na kayo ng maglagay ng deity sa bahay ninyo. So meron engagement yung ating senses. We're offering our food, for example. We're cooking our food for the deities. I-offer natin kay Krishna. So little do we know na ito pala ay tumutulong na sa ating devotional service, sa ating, magiging focus tayo kay Krishna. Of course, and eventually it will, make us more solidified in our chanting in our japa session or yung tawag yung Bhagavata Vidhi. Okay. So, yun po yung hindi ko nababasahin po yung iba yung nandyan na bullet points. You can read that on your own. I just wanted to point out yung train, which is very important na analogy, that it goes hand in hand. Okay, so that wraps up our this evening's discussion. And we can open up. I would leave some minutes. Meron pa tayong natitirang some 10 minutes. Kung some realization you want to share or clarification perhaps na medyo minsan baka medyo napabilis yung pagka-explain ko. So maybe you want to, ask or some clarification. So please you may write it down in the chat box, your question you want to ask, or you can, speak out and use the mic. So, sandali ha. So just to, while you are trying to formulate, maybe you're coming up with some questions. Sandali ah. So next week, we will be discussing Unit 2 or Chapter 2. But we will first start to finish this Unit 1, Chapter 1, with the last two topics, which is the golden rule of Bhakti and then sadhana Bhakti. Yun ang unahin po natin para matapos yung Chapter 1 or Unit 1. And then we proceed with Unit 2, which is napaka-easy lang siya. Okay, so sandali, meron na si Pia. Prabhu, may notes po sa Season 1. Ano ibig sabihin no? Si Earth Monk, sabi niya, Hare Krishna po, can we still practice yoga, detaching from senses to come union with God while using the senses for devotion at the same time? Okay. Thank you for that question. Detaching, parang kumbaga kung titignan mo parang naging contradictory siya, detaching the senses, nagdi-detach tayo, but using the senses for ginagamit mo pa rin. So the answer is yes, kasi actually yung yes, from Yoga Sutra Patanjali po. Yeah. Yes, I understand the question now. Yes, we can do that. We can parang reconcile ang tawag dyan. May reconcile natin yan na as I mentioned earlier at sa discuss natin kanina, kung i-browse to ninyo sa mga first unang pages, that we detach ourselves from material na bagay, pero we attach ourselves sa spiritual na mga bagay. Okay? So, the thing that may be material can be spiritualized. Yan ang ibig sabihin. So, ibig sabihin, in this context or discussion or your question, yung senses, for example, ay yung senses natin, ang material na bagay yan eh. But we can spiritualize it by engaging it in the senses of Krishna. So, na-transform siya. Na-transform yung material na bagay into a spiritual na bagay. I give you example. Yung pagkain. Yung pagkain na kinakain natin in our practice of Krishna consciousness. Of course, vegetarian, hindi pa pwedeng karne yan. Vegetarian, okay. So, titignan mo ay material siya eh. Ibig sabihin, gulay, patatas, carrots, anumang gulay. Pero once na iluto mo siya, tapos i-alay mo siya, i-offer mo siya sa deities, sa altar, sa deities mo. And then it transform into spiritual food. Na-transform mo siya spiritual food by the act of offering it with devotion and love and devotion to Krishna. Okay? There is a transformation, ang tawag doon, may transformation. And then when you eat that foodstuffs, the offer to Krishna, it becomes spiritualized and you become purified. Okay? So in other words, utilizing material things to transform it into spiritual energy. Or material energy, transforming it into spiritual energy. Okay? So in the practice of yoga, of course, naintindihan ko yan, we negate ourselves. Nabanggit ko kanina to na the yogis, they negate their senses or they deny the senses, the function of the, kasi they say that the senses gives disturbance. Dinidisturbo ako ng senses, seeing, nasasira yung meditation ko, halimbawa may nakita, let's say you're living in a city, so may dumaan na some image, na-attract ka doon, yung mata mo ay sumusunod doon. Let's say, for example, just to give a graphic example, isang magandang babae, so yung paningin mo ay napunta doon. So nasira yung meditation. Which actually, may isang yogi na gano'n nangyari sa scriptures that he was meditating under the water. Bakit? Kasi para ayaw niya ma-disturb. He didn't want to be disturbed. So what he did is that he submerged himself under the river and meditated. But lo and behold, may nakita siyang isda. Dalawang isda nakikipag-sex. So nasira yung meditation niya. Okay? So this is the we could say the dilemma, no? The dilemma that the yogis maybe hinaharap nila. But in Bhakti Yoga, kaya sinasabi joyfully perform kasi yung senses natin, we do not deny it or we do not negate the senses, but we utilize and we use it for Krishna. And it's joyful, masaya. Kasi you're not starving yourself. You're not, of course, meron naman tayong fasting. But we use it for the pleasure that it's trying to control artificially yung senses natin. So, going back to the question, detaching senses to come in union with God. Again, the process natin na banggit na kanina, we are trying to explain all the while. Ayun po yun eh. That's the whole point here, that Herisikay siya, Herisikay na. The master of the senses ay si Krishna. So why not utilize all our senses to Krishna? And do not worry that baka madidegrade tayo because we are utilizing the senses. Do not worry about it because it will actually, on the other hand, or it will rather purify us. It will rather purify us than degrade us. So we should not worry about it. Basta yung activities natin is connected in Krishna conscious na activities. It will uplift us. It will rather uplift us rather than degrade us. So that is the beauty and the uniqueness of Krishna consciousness. Now, we are utilized the same set of senses that are material, utilize it for Krishna and become spiritual. Okay, so I hope I answered that question kay Earth Monk. And mayroon na lang tayong titirang 3 minuto. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you din, Earth Monk. It's a wonderful question. Meron na lang tayong titirang 2 minuto na lang pala before magiging 8:30. And I don't want to take too much of your time kasi syempre I know that everybody has their obligation as I have also my obligation as a family man. Meron tayong mga inaalaga ng mga anak, So I think this is as far as we can go for this. And I hope before we end, I hope that I was able to share and with you all yung kaunting knowledge that we have studied throughout the years. And we are just parang nire-relay namin, pinapass down namin sa inyo. And so that you must strengthen din ng inyong practice, in your Krishna conscious practice. And as I have also learned, I'm so happy to also, impart to you this knowledge. So thank you very much sa inyo lahat. And hope to see you next week, same time, same day, Thursday. And we continue with our discussion, unit number or chapter number 2. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, our dear Sridham Prabhu. Very wonderful and full of wisdom yung session natin. And yes, for those who haven't printed yung copies ng guidelines of this course, it was in the group chat. We posted it a few days ago. I could send it again para madali hanapin. Yan, meron na si Nikita and others. And also, if you haven't registered dun sa ating ClickUp form, registration form for the level 1 and level 2, please do so. sinend ko uli sa group chat para we have the database at the same time guidelines para sa mga mentors. Kasi another program is we are inviting everyone to sign up dun sa mentorship program. This will be some selected devotees will serve as a mentor. And of course, our dear Sila Guru Maharaj will serve as a well-wisher, as a guru that we could have darshan with. So, ayun. So, before we end tonight's session, let's open our cameras bago magtakbo-takbo sa mga duties dyan sa bahay. So, we could have a group photo. Yan. I could see everyone. So, wag niyo kakalimutan, every morning we still have our Japa session and Srimad Bhagavatam session. Then, almost every evening, may mga session tayo. Yan. Radhat, Prabhu, magpakita ka. Yan. Count of 3, everyone. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, everyone. Shridham Prabhu, maraming salamat.
Hare
And
Krishna.
thank you very much, Pia, Jonah, Christine, Riza, Chantal, Oliver, Rolly, Kyle, Carla, Jan, KD,
Hare Krishna.
Bye. Yan, gumalaw na Makoy, Paolo, JM, RJ, Radhanath, Sitala, yan, Nikita, Rodal Prabhu, Milka, and Aika. Yan, si Nikita. Yan. Thank you very much, Shridham Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Good night. See you tomorrow. Si Christine, hindi ko yata nabate. Dami. Yan, reunion, no? First batch to fourth batch. Bye.